March 17, 1943, Berlin. The folder hit Admiral Wilhelm Canaris' mahogany desk with a force that made his coffee slosh, staining reports that could have earned him a Gestapo execution. "Impossible," he muttered. "The Americans are feeding us propaganda through turned agents." As chief of German military intelligence, Canaris held a report that didn't just challenge Nazi dogma, it contradicted the entire mathematical basis for German victory. The intelligence, corroborated by agents from Mexico City to Stockholm, stated that the Ford Motor Company's Willow Run plant was producing a single B-24 Liberator bomber every hour. This wasn't a simple Kubelwagen. This was an 18-ton aircraft made of 1.5 million individual parts and 450,000 rivets, rolling off an assembly line faster than Germany could produce a basic military vehicle. Major Friedrich Wilhelm Heinz, standing before Canaris, had checked the numbers 3 times. They remained the same. This moment marked the beginning of modern warfare's most devastating intelligence failure: the systematic inability of German leadership to comprehend, believe, or communicate the true scale of American industrial capacity, dooming the Third Reich through a fatal miscalculation of mathematical inevitability. The initial seeds of this failure were sown in 1941. Luftwaffe General Karl Kohler presented Hermann Göring with reports claiming American aircraft production was approaching 2,000 planes per month. Göring simply laughed, declaring that Americans could only build refrigerators and razor blades, not military aircraft. He told Hitler at the Wolf's Lair, just days after Pearl Harbor, that the Americans were weak, inefficient due to their mongrel population, and that their claims were a bluff. By March 1943, however, consistent reports from German intelligence networks across the Americas, from Mexican sympathizers and Swedish businessmen to intercepted letters, all pointed to the same impossible truth. Ford's Willow Run plant alone was producing more heavy bombers than all of Germany's combined aircraft factories. Lieutenant Colonel Nikolaus Ritter, head of Abwehr Air Intelligence and a former Lufthansa pilot who had lived in America, analyzed the data. He reported to Canaris, "If these numbers are correct, and I believe they are, then Germany has already lost the war. It is now only a question of mathematics and time." The intelligence was hard-won. Georg Nikolaus, running the Abwehr's Mexico City network, cultivated sources among traveling American businessmen. On one occasion, an American oil executive named Harold Morrison, a bit loose-lipped after a few tequilas, described his recent tour of the Willow Run facility. Morrison, unaware that German agent Wolfgang Blau was memorizing every word, spoke of a building so vast that clouds formed inside it, with 42,000 workers, including thousands of women and African-American women, building the most complex machine ever created. He explained that Ford had broken the bomber down into 60,000 separate, repeatable operations. When Blau suggested that such complexity must lead to delays, Morrison scoffed, explaining that Ford built planes like cars by moving the aircraft past stationary workers, achieving perfection through repetition. The workers, trained in days, simply performed one specific task over and over. Perhaps the most detailed intelligence came through neutral Spain. In March 1943, Colonel José Hungría, the Spanish military attaché in Washington and a secret intelligence source for Germany, met with Charles Sorensen, Ford's production chief and the architect of Willow Run. Sorensen, proud of his revolutionary achievement, spoke freely about his process. He recounted visiting Consolidated Aircraft's plant in San Diego, where each B-24 took 180,000 man-hours to build. Sorensen, however, had sketched out the entire flow in one night, deciding to move the aircraft past stationary workers. When Hungría asked about the workforce, Sorensen replied that women comprised 40% of the labor force and that African-American workers operated sophisticated machinery. Democracy, Sorensen stated, means utilizing all available human resources. By April 1943, German intelligence had confirmed the astonishing production rate of 650 B-24s monthly at Willow Run from 17 independent sources. Desperate for irrefutable proof, Canaris authorized Operation Pastorius, inserting saboteurs into the U.S. via submarine to gather photographic evidence. George John Dash, the leader of one team, quickly surrendered to the FBI. tormented by his mission. During interrogation, Dash revealed that Canaris himself had ordered intelligence on aircraft production because Berlin refused to believe the figures, thinking Willow Run was mere propaganda. Dash told the FBI agent, "They accused me of being a defeatist when I told them that if Ford could produce a car every minute before the war, they could certainly produce a bomber every hour during it." On April 20th, 1943, Hitler's 54th birthday, Canaris presented the comprehensive intelligence to Göring. Canaris laid out photographs and intercepted manifests confirming that the Willow Run plant consumed 16 million pounds of aluminum monthly, more than Germany's entire monthly production. Göring contemptuously dismissed the photographs as obviously wooden mock-ups, props for propaganda. He insisted that the plant probably produced 50 bombers monthly at most, rejecting the mathematics of a superior industrial system. A week later, Canaris briefed Hitler at the Wolf's Lair. Hitler, impatient and focused on the Eastern Front, interrupted Canaris's careful presentation. "Admiral, the Americans are capable of mass production of simple goods, automobiles, refrigerators, but a bomber is not a car. It requires precision, skill, dedication." He refused to believe America could achieve such production in just 16 months. Canaris and his deputy, Hans Oster, later watched smuggled film footage of Willow Run in a locked room. The camera traveled along the mile-long assembly line, showing B-24s in every stage of construction, moved past a diverse workforce of men, women, black and white workers performing their tasks with mechanical precision. Oster whispered, "My God, it's true." Canaris immediately burned the film, knowing that presenting it would mean being executed as traitors for creating fake footage. In November 1943, new aerial photographs of Willow Run confirmed the production rate, showing 47 completed B-24s and parking lots containing 12,000 cars, indicating 3-shift operations. Even after photo analysts confirmed the intelligence, Göring dismissed the images as clever American photographic manipulation. Only Dr. Albert Speer, the armaments minister, secretly obtained the figures and wrote in his diary, "If the Willow Run figures are even half accurate, we face not defeat but annihilation." But he couldn't speak the truth for fear of his life. Economists like Dr. Otto Ohlendorf, head of SD Inland, analyzed American economic data, reporting to Himmler in December 1943 that by June 1944, the Americans would have produced enough B-24s alone to drop Germany's entire 1940s London bombing tonnage every single day.
On Christmas Eve 1943, Canaris received American projections for 1944, 86,000 total aircraft, including 18,000 B-24s. Hitler's final response was that the claim was absurd. By February 1944, Canaris was removed for defeatism, but reality arrived on February 20th, 1944, Big Week, when the American 8th Air Force sent over 1,000 heavy bombers against German factories. Luftwaffe fighter pilot Adolf Galland told Göring, "Herr Reichsmarschall, I've counted over 800 bombers in a single formation. These planes are real, and they're dropping real bombs." On D-Day, June 6, 1944, over 11,000 Allied aircraft appeared over France. The Luftwaffe mustered fewer than 300. Field Marshal Hugo Sperl sent a desperate message to Berlin. "The enemy's aerial superiority is absolute. Our intelligence was correct. We were deceived not by the Americans, but by ourselves." By April 1944, Willow Run reached its peak, producing one finished B-24 Liberator every 63 minutes. The plant employed a diverse workforce, including 11,000 women and 3,800 African Americans, a demographic makeup that completely shattered Nazi racial ideology. The so-called inferior races and weaker sexes were outproducing the German master race by orders of magnitude. The intelligence officers who tried to report this truth, like Canaris and Oster, were executed in April 1945. Albert Robert Speer, in Post-War Interrogation, explained the rejection of reality. To accept that Ford could produce a bomber every hour was to accept that our entire worldview was wrong, that democracy wasn't weak, but strong, that racial mixing didn't create weakness, but strength. It would mean accepting that we had started a war we could never win. The failure to believe had catastrophic consequences. Germany continued to waste resources on impractical wonder weapons and delayed diplomatic peace overtures. The final accounting revealed the true scale. Willow Run alone built 8,685 B-24s. The United States produced 3.2 times more aircraft than Germany, while fighting a two-ocean war. The German intelligence failure was not one of collection. The agents were excellent, but one of acceptance. The leadership, enthralled to ideology, refused to believe intelligence that contradicted their core beliefs. German intelligence officers, in a final report dated April 20, 1945, found in the ruins of Berlin, wrote, "Willow Run production confirmed. We reported this truth 2 years ago. We were not believed. Germany dies not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of wisdom to believe intelligence that contradicts what we wish to be true. Let future generations learn. Reality does not bend to ideology. Mathematics does not yield to mythology. Truth ignored becomes tragedy." The verdict is clear. German intelligence acceptance was catastrophic. That failure to believe uncomfortable truths is a warning for all nations. Reality doesn't care what you believe. Those who deny it in favor of ideology will ultimately be destroyed by it. German spies counted them all. German leaders believed none. And that disbelief killed the Third Reich.